Welcome back to Good Living Alaska. So today we wanted to show you around our little town here in Alaska. And our town is actually Soldotna, Alaska. And even though we are about to move from here, this will still be our main town that we go shopping in from time to time.
Yeah, so when we move, we're only going to be about 25 minutes from Soldotna. So like he said, this will still be the place that we come and shop and take the kiddos to do activities. So we wanted to go ahead and kind of just show you guys. Now, we did a video about a year ago, but there's been a lot of changes and a lot of people are moving up here in this summer for work. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and they have a lot of questions. So we thought we'd go ahead and make a video and share a little bit about our town and what we like to do, as well as a bunch of other different topics that we're going to cover, including cost of living, restaurants, stuff like that. So a lot of stuff that we're going to go over.
All right, we're going to get on our way. Our first stop is actually going to be the dump. And that might sound boring to you, but what we're going to do is show you why it's kind of an interesting place to go.
This is a good day as any to start the rebuilding of life.
Harrison, do you want to go get some McDonald's? Yeah, all right. So we're going to take a little pit stop here, get some McDonald's. We don't go here a crazy amount, even though it seems like it on our videos, but basically when we're doing outings and stuff and videos and stuff like that, we'll sometimes take a pit stop to get McDonald's. And the reason why is because they have an app that allows you to get like a lot of discounts, and that's basically the only reason. When it comes to pricing and stuff, McDonald's is actually one of the cheaper places to eat as long as you use the app. Now, if you're not using the app, it's so expensive to eat here. Harrison, you ready to go inside and eat some McDonald's? Okay. All right, Bubba, here you go. Grab your
Harrison,
food.
What'd you get?
Nasty.
What happened?
Yeah.
Ooh, we can help you get it set up.
Mommy got something too, huh?
Mommy got her sweet tea.
Yeah.
Thank you. What else did you get me?
Wow, huh?
A hamburger.
Yeah.
Thank you, baby.
All right, so we made it back in the truck here. We got Harrison sitting down in his chair. Mama some food too. So I just wanted to say real quick, so the price of that, now we got free stuff using the app, and even the price for that for 2 meals was still just a little over $13. So it's not cheap eating out, and I know some people are gonna say, well, that's pretty cheap compared to some of the other places that they do. But again, that's why we chose this as one of our stops, because if we're gonna eat bad food, we might as well not be paying a whole lot for it. So we decided that's why we like stopping for McDonald's, because the biggest benefit is Jillian got her sweet tea.
If you've been following, you know I love my sweet tea. So another reason why we come to McDonald's is because there's not a lot of options. There's a Dairy Queen, there's a Taco Bell, there's a Subway, there's an Arby's, and a Pizza Hut. And if you guys are going to be visiting Soldotna anytime soon, or if you're interested in more of our fast food places, we did post a video a few months ago about fast food places and prices, and we break down how much each place costs. So if you want to check that out, we're going to post a link below. So not a lot of options, and they're really expensive. You're going to be paying about $10 plus a person just to eat at fast food, which to us is pretty expensive, especially when you're trying to feed, you know, multiple people. And then as far as the finer dining restaurants, it is so expensive. You're looking at $20 to $30 a person just to eat out at some of these restaurants. Now, if we do go out, we do like one called Acapulco, which is a Mexican restaurant, and we do like a Chinese buffet. It's called China Sea. That's about $20 a person. It's a very small buffet, but it's really good. But other than that, we don't eat out very often because the options here are just not as good. When we came from Texas, we were so spoiled by all the good fast food and nice restaurants and the good eating, and here it's hard to find. So we'd rather just make our own than even spend the money, because it's not worth it to us as far as dining options.
And as you can tell too, there's a big movement going on in America too, where people are starting to finally realize their health. Now, I've been dealing with health issues myself for the past 4 years, and this last year after Blakely was born did I actually start trying harder to maintain a good health. This forcing us to not eat out as often has actually been a lot better for us physically, mentally, and just general health wise. So we're very glad.
And also for our budget too, you know, with me not working, me staying home with the children, you know, being on a one income, we really have to think about things, and we'd rather spend the money at the grocery store than eating out.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and finish chowing down, and we're gonna start back on the way to the dump here in just a second.
All right, I got my chicken nuggets.
What is
Pretty good.
Hey there, just basic trash. 6, thank you very much. So one thing to note is that the landfill here is actually free. They want to encourage you to actually bring your trash here. The reason why is because out in the country, like a lot of folks will typically do, they'll just burn their trash. And so they're trying to encourage what's good for the environment by offering the service for free. They also have places where you can dump off cooking oil and batteries, and I believe carcasses as well, because you know there's a lot of fishing carcasses throughout the season, and believe it or not, there's a lot of leftovers after a moose kill as well. And so they just want to encourage the disposal of trash.
So another reason we come to the dump is, like Blake said, it's free. When we moved into our house, they had a dumpster there, so we were just continuing to use the dumpster, and trash services are $70 a month. So we did it for a while, but then we're like, why are we doing this when we can just load up the car and take it every 2 weeks to the dump? So no more dumpster, and we're saving $70.
Let's see if I can sneak up on this one here. And so this is what makes the dump special.
As you can see, there is not a shortage of eagles. So if you're ever in the Soldotna area, or even Alaska in general, make sure to check out the local dumps instead of paying for expensive charters to go see eagles, because they are at the dump.
It might not be the most beautiful way of seeing them, but the reality is any predatory animal is going to take advantage of any free food that they can. I mean, in a lot of situations, we are also predatory animals, and we take advantage of any free food we can get too.
Yeah, so funny story. When we first moved here, I really wanted to see eagles, and it took a long time to see our first eagle. It wasn't until we went fishing that we saw a few flying over the river, you know, looking for food. And then we started coming to the dump, and we're like, whoa, here are the eagles. This is where they're living and been hiding. So yeah, it's just kind of funny. You know, you expect to see a bunch when you come to Alaska, but they're not just out flying anywhere. They are pretty much at the dump.
Number 6. Thank you. All right, so for our first stop on our tour after the dump here is we're actually going to stop at the visitor center here in Soldotna and show you the scenery there. It's actually really, really gorgeous. It's a wonderful place to go fishing if you can find a spot. As you can imagine, it's very busy during prime fishing season anywhere on the river where it's easy access. So first stop here is going to be the visitor center.
Yeah, what's really nice about the visitor center is it is easy access, especially if you have a disability. They have ramps as well as stairs, so it is nice to go, but the parking is very limited.
And so are the fishing spots. Now, the visitor center is actually up on a pretty high hill, so you kind of have to walk down pretty far. On the other side, they have ramps, though, so you can do. I'm taking the stairs because I like the view from the stairs as well, even though most of it's through the trees. So as you can see, this area is very beautiful, and there's a lot of really good fishing spots right off of the docks here. And so that's why a lot of people come here to this location. There's something interesting that I noticed down in our comment section. Somebody mentioned that they were somehow unsubscribed. I'm not sure how that works, but check down below, see if you're subscribed. And if you're interested in watching our videos and enjoy our family, definitely hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate all your support.
Well, the kids are taking a nap, so I am riding shotgun finally for a little bit until they wake up. But we're going to go ahead and talk about a little bit about the fishing.
All right, so as far as fishing goes, here in Alaska, most of it doesn't really start up until June. And on the Kenai here, it really doesn't start up till about July, and even towards the end of July. As a non-resident, you can come here and fish on the rivers, no problem at all. You just got to make sure you follow the handbook and the rules, because sometimes the rules change quite a bit. Typically, it's a single hook with a piece of yarn on it, or a bead that's floating or 2 inches above. But again, you got to check those rules every time you come here, because rules do change. And each fish kind of has a season. So you have the red salmon, the silvers, and then every other year you have the pink salmon coming in. They all come in all kind of sporadically, but there are certain seasons for each one where the majority of them come in. And usually when people talk about salmon fishing here, they're usually talking about what they prefer, which is red salmon. And so that's the most desirable, the most tasty fish that you can get, according to most people, while you are here. Now, that being said, in June, there's the Kasilof River. And the Kasilof River is where the red salmon start coming out first. It is, of course, the river that is before this river when you're talking about from ocean to land. So that's why they're going up that river a little bit earlier. They're taking the fresh water that they can find in the largest amount up first. And then when it comes down to salmon, they do actually like to return to the places that they originally were spawned at. And so that's a lot of the reason as to why you'll see salmon going to different places first. So in July, that's when the Kenai River does pick up pace, and you get a lot more red salmon coming in through July, especially right at the end of it, where dip netting season opens up. Now, you do have to be a resident in order to dip net, and so dip netting is one of the things that we like to do now that we've been residents for the past 2 years.
And it's really family oriented. Like, I don't know if you've seen our videos in the past, and you'll see one coming up in July as well. It's a family event. The whole family goes out and participates. And even little kids will be out there, you know, whacking the fish once they're brought in. So it's a really nice family event, and we plan on doing some camping while we're doing it this year. So lots of fun, but you do have to be a resident. To be a resident, you have to be here for at least a year. And if you try to go out there as a non-resident, it is a big fine.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get caught going out there as a non-resident, just because you don't want to deal with all the trouble that they have. They take fishing real serious around here because they worry about the salmon being fished out of existence. Just like the kings recently have been having a hard time, and they are worried that some of the kings in different areas are actually going extinct in those areas, because they're very desirable, because they're huge fish. So everybody likes to have a trophy, and kings are seen as the trophy fish. And even though I don't really care too much for them, that's just one of the things that a lot of people like to catch. Maybe one day, if they ever come back, we'll try to catch one. But for now, we are red salmon people, and that's what we're going to be. And as far as the pink salmon go, they're actually not too bad, because they do take on seasoning well. So when it comes down to, like, if you're trying to do fish and chips, that's not too bad. Whitefish is better, but pink salmon is not a bad substitute, especially if you are doing subsistence fishing for your animals. So dogs, pigs will eat it, chickens. The pink salmon are great for feeding your animals, which may kind of sound kind of weird as using salmon to feed, but they come up a lot. And as far as subsistence living, that is one way to do it.
Yeah, a lot of locals use the salmon to make their own food for their animals. And just on another note, if you guys plan to visit the area, there are a lot of charters that'll take you out to go fishing, but there's also a lot of places that you can go for free to fish. And there are a lot of Facebook groups that people will join to ask questions before they come up, you know, asking where, you you know, is a good place to fish, free fishing. Now, a lot of people don't like to give away their good spots, but majority of people will tell you where are some good places to go that are free if you're not able to do a charter.
Yeah, if you're interested in seeing the type of fishing that we do as a big family, stay tuned to our videos, because we will definitely be showing you dip netting and possibly some salmon fishing on the river as well, like we did last year, if you want to go back and watch some of our videos on what we did last year. All right, we're headed out to our next stop. I just got back. I went out there and I looked at the river while Mama stayed with the babies here. And as you can see, it's very beautiful down there. The water is actually really low compared to what it normally is. The weather around here has been very interesting this year. So overall, it's been a lot warmer winter. Normally the river there would be almost completely frozen over the top of it. And this actual festival is actually the Frozen River Festival, but there's no frozen river. There is ice obviously on top of it, and it's freezing, but not frozen. And that's just the way it's been this winter. It's been a very warm winter and mostly just a lot of ice that we've been dealing with.
And speaking of festivals, I just want to say one thing that I love about Soldotna and the area that we live in, which includes Kenai, is that it's very family oriented. I was so surprised when we moved here how many young families there are, and how many of these young families have multiple children, not just one or two anymore. A lot of them have 3, 4 plus kids. So it's very family oriented. There's a lot of festivals in the summer especially, and in the springtime. And there's also a lot of homeschool resources, which is what we plan on doing. And so it's one thing that we really like about it. There's also just a lot of activities for families to do, especially when you have little kids. As you guys have seen in some of our videos, there's gymnastics, there's library story time, there's the rec center, there's tot time at a bunch of other little different places at churches. So it's really nice and family oriented. A lot of the moms here actually stay home with their children. There's a few moms that I know that work, but the majority of us actually stay home and take care of the kids. And our ultimate goal is to homeschool and to be with our kids. And that's one thing that one of the reasons why we stayed here. We want the freedom to homeschool our children. Here in Alaska, it doesn't start till the kiddos are 4 years old. They don't really do a pre-K 3 here. So around 4 is when we'll start doing homeschool with Harrison. So this coming December, we'll be starting to homeschool. But in the meantime, we've been doing a lot of educational based activities. But yeah, we really like how it is family based, and you know, it's nice to have young families and people our own age. That's another thing. A lot of the families here are older young families, if that makes sense. A lot of us who have started families in our 30s. So it's nice having that family support in our small community.
So one of the reasons why I think a lot of the moms stay home and do homeschool is because the cost of daycare has just absolutely increased an insane amount, almost to the point where it's like, unless the mom's job is providing the insurance, she might as well stay home and be with the children, because by the time you make the money up to provide for daycare, you're really not making anything. You're mostly losing it to taxes and to the daycare school systems.
Yeah, and as you guys may or may not know, I'm a nurse. I have a registered nursing license. And even with that, it is hard to work and still be able to make the daycare make sense. It's so expensive here. And I know daycare has gone up everywhere, but it is so expensive. So even having a nursing license, it's still more practical to be a stay-at-home mom, which is crazy. But like he said, unless you carry the insurance, it's really no benefit. And I'm so thankful that I get to be able to be home and be here with the kiddos, especially as they're meeting their milestones. But Alaska is really big on the homeschooling and being home with the family.
All right, so one of the things that we actually have to do for our new house, and I know y'all haven't seen it yet, but don't worry, we want to make sure that everything gets through and everything goes through before we start. Yeah, and closes before we show you, because we don't want to hype you up too much just in case something falls through. You never know in this day and age, the way the financial systems have been going, and also I've been seeing on the news where some banks are even closing. So,
but we do have a closing date.
Yeah, we do, coming up real soon here, early second week of March.
Yes, so we are going to start showing videos of us getting ready to pack. Yeah. But in the meantime, we have a couple errands to run.
Yeah, and one of those errands is actually going to be going to check out and find a wood-burning stove, because this property does not yet have a wood-burning stove in it, though it has a place already set up for it. So let's go do that.
Let's go do it.
Oh, they're closed, aren't they? What does it say here? Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Peekaboo! You do it again? Peekaboo! There she is! You do it again? Peekaboo! There's Miss Blakely! Such a big girl!
All right, well, we ended up arriving to the fire and flu store, and they're actually closed right now. But this is actually a common problem here in Alaska. A lot of times the hours change, and they're not updated on Google, so you won't actually know when a place is open. And, you know, this is not something that's pretty common down in the lower 48. This is more of an Alaskan thing that we've discovered. And so, you know, hours of operation are different during the winter. So be prepared in mind to know that, you know, sometimes you'll go to these places expecting to go look at and purchase, and, you know, they're not there. They're not open. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add in a clip, because we're going to go ahead and go during their hours of operation during the week here. So we'll add that clip in right now. All right, so we decided to change up the location. We are going to go to this place called a fireplace store and take a look at some Blaze Kings. Hey there. Hey. What did you find, huh? Fireplace.
He's so excited.
You excited?
It's a fireplace.
Yeah, it's a nice one, huh?
Yeah, I like it.
So
yeah.
she's giving some information.
So this is the princess then here?
Yes.
And then that's the king.
Yes.
The king is big, isn't it? Wow.
It's pretty big.
Still though, this is very nice. And you said this one comes with a fan too?
Yes, we're doing a sale where you purchase with them, you get a free fan, which knocks off, it's just shy of $400. It's like $398.
Okay. What do you think, Bubba? You like it?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, you like it?
Oh, that's a fireplace.
That's another fireplace over there. You like this one right here? You think you'd want this one?
No, want that one.
You want that one? That one's already installed. That's why you want that one, huh? Yeah, so this here, right here. Look at that. That's pretty nice, huh? All right, thanks you again. Appreciate you. Yep, we'll see you later. What do you think, Mama? I mean, I like it. I think it looks good.
I like it. We are going to definitely get the Blaze Princess, because we already have the piping and everything. And
For the 6-inch, yeah.
Just for the 6-inch.
The flue,
king
yeah.
is 8. And we have to redo everything. So we're not going to do that. So the princess it is.
All right, so we are actually headed over to Kenai, which is about 15 minutes away, and we're going to go to Walmart and talk to you about some of the stores that we have in this area.
All right, so we made it to Walmart and just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the stores we have. So being here in Soldotna and Kenai, Walmart is the major store where you can get everything. Now we do have grocery stores, which includes Walmart, and then we also have Fred Meyer and Safeway do your grocery shopping, as well as something that's called Three Bears. But we do the majority of our shopping at Costco, which you guys know, and then when we need like to get certain items, we come here, and then we also will do a little shopping at Fred Meyer when there's stuff on sale. But it was a big surprise when we moved here at how limited we are as far as shopping goes. Thankfully we can, you know, order off Amazon, and we'll talk about that later. But as far as like children's clothing, it's pretty much Walmart and Fred Meyer, and then there's some boutique stores, but of course they're more expensive. And then as far as like furniture and, you know, home decor, it's basically Walmart and Fred Meyer. Now there is a big furniture store here called Bailey's, and there's also a store called Sadler's, but it is so expensive for furniture. So you're just very limited on what you can get. It's, you know, supply and demand. We're in a smaller area and there's not a lot of competition, so their prices are higher at these local like furniture stores and local boutique children's stores. So that's why we go to Costco a lot. And I know we do a lot of Costco videos and talk about Costco all the time. And no, we do not get any kind of compensation from Costco. It's our main go-to because of it being a cheaper price, and it is worth driving the 3 hours to Costco because we're very limited here. And that was a big shock for me, you know, not being able just to run out and grab what I need for the kids, or, you know, just be able to have all the selection of stores. I really miss Marshall's, TJ Maxx, stuff like that, especially when it comes to home decor. And I really miss clothing stores for the kiddos. Now there is a Once Upon a Child in Anchorage that we'll go to sometimes that I really like going to, but you're just very limited here. So just something to keep in mind. From the lower 48, it's not like it is there.
And one thing you got to keep in mind too, this is also a lifestyle choice for me personally. And I think for the rest of my family too, we're learning to enjoy, you know, a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
And that is to be freer, right? I want to be freer to live out in the country. I want to be freer to have more opportunities to raise my children alone without the influence of certain other entities. One in particular is the government. So, you know, hey, it's a lifestyle choice, and that's the choice that we've made. And, you know, we want our kids to learn how to live kind of like the way my grandparents did. And it's a slow process to get to that because you got to kind of get out of the rat trap that we're in by means of, you know, we're stuck financially doing certain things. And that's why I'm working full time and also trying to, you know, do YouTube on the side. So
yeah,
it's just a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle choice, and it's a lifestyle change that we have decided to make 2 years ago when we moved here. We are definitely not without. We have everything we need, but we just like to let people know this is a different way of living, and you're not going to always have what you had maybe when you were down in the lower 48. It's a lot more limited here. So if you're used to that kind of lifestyle, it may take a while for you to get used to it, or it may not be something that you're wanting to do. We've been here for 2 years and we're slowly making the change for our family, which we think is best. And like I said, we're certainly not without. It's just harder to get things. And that was a little bit of an adjustment, but it's nothing that can't be, you know, handled.
All right, well, we just arrived at Home Depot, and we wanted to say, so Home Depot is pretty much one of the only places that we have, other than Spenard's, which is actually on the other side of Soldotna, to go and grab supplies. And Spenard's is more for like contractors, while Home Depot is more for, you know, the average day, everyday kind of person. But they both offer what you might need when it comes to building in general.
And as you can see in some of our last videos and coming into our future home, we are going to be doing a lot of DIY. And we are doing that to save money, but also because some of our resources are pretty limited as far as being booked out, or they are not here in the winter. A lot of these companies go and take vacations during the winter, and then when they are back, they are really booked out, and then they're also super expensive. So a lot of DIY going on with us and a lot of Alaskans in general, just to help save some money.
One of the things that we can't do DIY is to install our own septic system. So we actually had an issue with our current house, and the septic was actually failing. And believe it or not, this house is only 4 years old and the septic's already failing, which tells you that whoever installed the septic did not do a proper job. Luckily, we were able to find somebody who actually does a good job, and they are T Excavating here in Soldotna, Kenai area. Basically, they work on the entire Kenai Peninsula. So I'll shout out to them, T Excavating. They did a wonderful job of fixing our septic leach field. That being said, you know, prices aren't cheap. You know, it's a lot more expensive up here than it is in the lower 48. Just for an example, the one that I just recently had put in was $8,500. And a lot of the reason why prices up here are so expensive is probably because of competition. You know, one of the greatest things about capitalism is the fact that the more competition you have, the better chance of you finding a good price or people willing to work for prices that are reasonable, but also, you know, delivering and everything else included in that. We didn't think $8,500 was not too bad based off of the fact that there wasn't very many people up here who could do that during the winter. And, you know, they took good care of us and they installed it properly. We're very happy with the work that they did and definitely recommend them to people. They're very kind and generous and did a good job, and they came out quick too. I told them last Friday, they came out Tuesday and knocked it out for us. So very fast, very efficient, and they did a good job. And they are DEC certified, so I'm very happy with that, because it means that our house was able to be sold without any delays.
And like Blake mentioned, you know, we have had some not so great experiences with certain services here. And, you know, since there's not a lot of competition, you don't always have to be held accountable for your service. And so just something to kind of note there, make sure that you are getting people that are highly recommended. Maybe if you know people, just word of mouth. It is a lot different here when it comes to those services because you are so limited.
And since we're at Home Depot, I wanted to talk to you real quick about the price of housing here. So the price of housing in Alaska has gone up significantly because we're in a location where there really isn't much housing. Now, people are building houses, but you don't, again, have a lot of competition. There's not a lot of people building houses. There's actually only a few people who do build houses around here, and they're trying to build them as fast as possible, but the winter slows us down here, and the price of goods and importation is actually a big deal. And so that's why a lot of people are kind of concerned too with the imports that are coming in as far as wood from Canada because of all the tariffs that are going on. But regardless of any of that, we've actually seen prices since we've been here go up almost $50,000 as far as housing goes. So we're seeing what we would see in Texas, which is like worth about a $250,000 to $300,000 house. Here it's being sold for about $425,000 to $475,000. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it, but I think prices everywhere have kind of gone up for the most part, but especially here in Alaska.
Yeah, and the price he mentioned is not for a very big house. So we're talking only about a 1,500 to maybe 1,700 square foot house, and we're talking about no air conditioning. It's mainly in-floor heating or baseboard heating, but yeah, no air conditioning systems. And we're talking about a very basic house. So it's, you know, maybe a 3 to 4 bedroom house with 2 baths, which sounds great, but we're only talking about 1,500 to 1,700 square feet. And speaking of housing prices, rent here is very expensive. Like I said in the beginning, I'm in some Facebook groups, and there are people who are looking to move up here and looking for housing who are not from here, and they're trying to find housing, particularly rentals, which are very limited, believe it or not, and they're also very expensive. And I don't think people realize that when they're looking to come up here. We were very surprised when we first came up 2 years ago how hard it was to find a rental and how much it was. So in the summertime you're looking at more, but if you're looking at a yearly rental, you're looking between $1,700 to about $2,000 for just a basic apartment. We're talking like maybe a 2-3 bedroom apartment for that, which I don't know, maybe comparable where some of you guys live. Let us know what, you know, real estate is going where you live, but it's definitely expensive to rent here. And then in the summertime, these rentals are only good through certain dates. So they want you out by May because they want the summer business, because what they do is they do Airbnbs with them. And some of these Airbnbs are run about $1,000 a week, especially during the fishing season. So it's not cheap to rent here, which is why we decided to buy our first house. When we came here, we rented for about a year, and then we decided we wanted to stay and buy a house. But if you're looking just to come up here, you know, just to give it a try, just note that you're going to be paying a lot in rent.
All right, well, we're going to go off to our next stop here, and that is actually the hospital. All right, so we have arrived at the hospital. So this is the only major hospital that we have here on the Kenai Peninsula. As far as hospitals go, you have this one. You have a small hospital clinic there in Homer, which is about an hour to an hour and a half away. And then in Seward, you have one, but that's about 2 to 2.5 hours away. And then you're not going to have one again till you get to Anchorage. So a lot of flights come in and out of here, helicopter flights, that is. because if there's anything massive that this hospital can't take care of, they'll take the 30-minute helicopter flight and fly them out to Anchorage, or they may even fly them out to Seattle, which is actually a little bit longer flight, but they'll fly them out to Seattle if they're stable enough. You know, when it comes to disadvantages of living in Alaska, you're going to have more rural hospital disadvantages. Sometimes it's the lack of care, but luckily there have been a lot of advancements at this particular hospital, and you know, they're able to take care of a lot more patients than they would normally just a couple years ago.
Yeah, it definitely still has limited services though. One of the main concerns we've had when Blakely was born was she was premature, and they don't have a NICU here, and so there was talk about flying her out to Anchorage, and she was early, but luckily we didn't need to do that. But just kind of note, if you're planning on living in Soldotna, or if you're planning on living away from Anchorage, just kind of need to note that you do need to be pretty healthy, because there are limited services here. Like said, most of the time you're flown out, or if you need to see specialty doctors, what most people do is drive the 3 hours to Anchorage for those appointments.
But when it comes to like us originally coming here, we came here because of the job opportunities. There are a lot of job opportunities if you're in the medical field, and you know, they're always in need of more people, because just like any medical field system, there's always a large outflux of medical personnel. And as a hospital is growing, like this particular hospital is growing, constantly trying to increase its services, that offers a lot more job opportunities for specialty people. I feel like this is a place where a medical person would always have the opportunity for a job, as long as they don't burn bridges on their way out if they're trying to go explore and do other things. Which brings me to how we actually made it here in Alaska. As a traveler, I was traveling contracts, and I came up here to Alaska and stayed here almost a year and a half doing contracts. And that's why we finally fell in love with Alaska and decided to stick around and get a full-time job here. A lot of good job security here, as long as you're doing a good job.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, this is where we had Blakely, and this is where we plan on having our next baby. And just kind of wanted to touch base too. We've had several people ask, you know, are you going to have family come help you and stay with you or visit with you? And yes, we are. Blake's parents are going to come up and help us, and then my parents are going to come a little bit later to help. But just wanted to touch base on the price of airlines. So of course, traveling here in the winter is much cheaper. We had Blakely in February, is a lot cheaper than it is going to be when we have this baby in May, because it's kicking off summer, and as well as tourism and fishing season coming up. So compared to the winter and the summer, there's about a $500 to $700 plus difference per person to come up here. It's really expensive just to get here, and then all the stuff that comes with visiting Alaska. It is not cheap. So far, we've had family come up about once a year since we've been here, and we hope that continues, but just understand that it is really expensive, and it's also expensive to leave, you know, especially as we have more kids. It's hard to go home and visit family because it is so expensive. And once June and July come, it's even more expensive because of fishing season. And then in the summertime, you usually have a direct flight to Alaska. And then in the winter, you may have multiple flights, connecting flights. So it is cheaper, but there are more flights involved versus the summer. So when our parents do come to visit, our family comes to visit, we do have the option of picking them up in Anchorage, and they can drive a rent car to Soldotna, or they have the option of flying in from Anchorage into the Kenai airport, which is 15 minutes from Soldotna. And that's about a 30-minute plane ride on a little puddle jumper airplane. And those are about $150 to $200 a person to fly, which isn't a bad deal considering it's so close to us, and we can pick them up and they can, you know, use one of our vehicles. Renting a car here is super expensive, especially in the summer. So just some stuff to think about when you come visit. But yeah, it's more difficult for family to come see us than to just drive in the lower 48 and, you know, take a road trip.
So one thing to note is that Soldotna is very family oriented, and Jillian, as she said before, has taken the kids all over the place, library and all their other fun events that they have. But when it comes to a lot of people who are actually doing YouTube, you really don't see a whole lot of kids. And so we just want you to make a note of that's kind of the difference between what we do and what other families are doing. The other couples are, you know, able to do, you know, all the crazy building houses in the middle of nowhere, you know, before they have kids and all that. That's something that's a lot harder to do when you have kids. You can't just drag you know, a 1-year-old out into the middle of the woods where it's freezing and start building a house. You know, you got to take care of your kids, and you know, they come first. And so that's why we are taking it slow and easy as we move to our off-grid location. And that's why we're also going to be taking a modern off-grid approach, a house that is mostly prepared and ready to move into. Since we have such young children, we need that stability for them. And speaking of the fact that my wife is pregnant and we're about to have a brand new baby, you know, we need to have that stability in this time period of our lives. It's going to be a good experience, I think, and you know, I can't wait to show you.
But even though it is more modern homestead and established, there is still a lot of stuff that we need to do to it. It's only a 1-bedroom, 2-bath house, and so we are planning on adding a lot of bedrooms and a lot of structures outside as well for the chickens and our future animals. So there's going to be a lot of building and projects coming up over the summer and as we move on.
So this is actually the Soldotna post office, and when it comes to packages, most of our packages that we receive have to be received here at the P.O. box, including our Amazon packages, and that's because there is no real delivery out your houses, and we don't really have a mailbox. Just about everybody has their own P.O. box, and so this building here is filled with P.O. boxes, and we'll go inside here and take a look at it real quick.
Yeah, and you have to pretty much have a P.O. box to get Amazon packages. So a lot of Amazon packages will not be delivered to your door, or let's say if you do have a mailbox at your house, will not be delivered there. So you have to have a P.O. box. And, you know, one thing that was kind of a shock too is even though we have Amazon Prime, we do not get 2-day deliveries. It's more like 2 to 3 week deliveries. And so if you are needing to order something, you got to make sure you plan it out or you're not going to get it in time. And so just something to note on that. Yeah, we do not get next day or same day deliveries with Amazon.
Come on, big boy. Let's go. All right, big boy. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, can you see all these boxes, huh? You gonna help me? Here you go. Right there.
Where? That?
Yeah, that one.
Oh.
Other way. There you go. Good job. Yeah, push it in all the way. Push it in all the way. There you go. Turn it. Good job. You see anything? Or is it empty?
Empty.
Oh, no. Well, that means we don't got no mail today. That's okay. Good job. High five for opening it. Yeah, that's okay. Good job.
Yeah, I know you're back.
All right.
Mommy. Yeah. And I a mail.
No mail.
No mail. Oh, okay. That's okay.
I think Mama picked it up yesterday, huh?
Yeah, you and Mommy came yesterday to pick it up. That's okay. Did you check it though?
Yeah,
Did you have fun checking it?
He opened it by himself.
Oh, good job.
Open the diesel. No baskets in that.
And there's no packages?
Yeah.
No.
Does that mean Mommy needs to order more from Amazon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main place that we get gas in town is Fred Meyer. We do a little bit of shopping here, so we get the points. So it is similar to a Kroger. It's owned by the same company. So they do the gas points, and it's one of the cheapest places to get gas when using those points.
So currently the gas prices is $3.29 for both the unleaded and the diesel. Like I was saying a second ago, I haven't seen that in a long time where the gas prices are the same. But gas prices up here are typically more expensive than what I've seen back home in Texas, which is kind of strange, mainly when you think about how much actual oil there is in Alaska. That you would think that the prices would be a lot lower, but I think that has more to do with the refineries. There is actually a refinery here on the Kenai Peninsula, but during one of the administrations they shut that down, and so it's no longer functioning, but they have been maintaining, and we're hoping that with this new administration that we're going to see an uptick of that usage, and also hiring a bunch of oil men that are willing to come and work here in Alaska. It would actually help reduce a lot of the prices here, as they should be reduced with all the oil that is here in Alaska. But as far as prices range, we usually see an uptick of $1 added on during the summer because of all the traveling visitors, people who are coming here on vacations and such. And so they do take advantage of that and actually add almost a full $1 to the gas prices. All right, well, we hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot about Soldotna. And if you're somebody who's new to this, don't forget to subscribe and like. And thanks again for watching. Good living Alaska. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Can Harrison say bye-bye?
Can you wave bye-bye to the camera? Look at Daddy. Look up there. Can you wave goodbye?
Good enough.
Today,
No, you're not gonna do it, are you?